Welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the main card fights for UFC 256, Figueiredo versus Moreno. So without further ado, let's get to our first fight on the main card. So in our first fight, we have in the heavyweight division, former heavyweight champion, Junior Dos Santos versus Gane. So this is a pretty solid matchup. Two big dudes right here, both roughly the same height. But yeah, I don't get too much into all those stats and stuff because they really don't. You know who these people are at this point, especially Junior Santos, and you know where he's at right now. So when we look at this fight, both talented fighters, and if say Dos Santos was a couple years younger, like 3-4 years younger, or his pattern wasn't so figured out, this could be a very highly competitive fight, or it still probably could be a highly competitive fight. And Junior Santos, you might lean to him to win. You probably would pick him to win this one, but we're in reality. We're in the present day, and Junior Santos, I think even though he's been looking like a shot fighter, I don't think he's completely shot. It's like he just not good enough. I think more so is his patterns. I feel like he's made improvements in his game, especially defense, especially some footwork. But Chin definitely took a lot of damage. He's definitely older now. And he still has the same pattern to when he gets on the cage, he circles with his hands down. Chin up, hands down. And you saw in the fight against Rosenstruck where he was really outboxing Rosenstruck. He was outstriking Rosenstruck. And it looked like the more cleaner, technical fighter and was fully in control. Well, not I would say fully in control, but it was definitely he was leading the dance. He was winning that fight and was finding a couple good shots. And there was also some opportunities that he didn't take advantage of. Probably could knock Rosenstruck out, but either way, he was looking good against Rosenstruck. And then Rosenstruck like, oh yeah, I'm getting outstruck. Let me put him into his pattern and knock him out. So it was like Rosenstruck was losing. And he's like, let me pressure him, get him on that cage, and then start doing wild overhands or haymakers on the side he's exiting towards, and I'm gonna knock him out. And he did just that. Just unloaded unloaded haymakers to the side that Dos Santos was circling to, and it was a short story after that, and was all she wrote. So you're saying, like I said, he's still a very solid fighter. It's just that his patterns are there, and people know it, and he's not really fixing. One of the bigger flaws is like his circling issue. Like, why not just pick your hands up, take a couple shots, then turn out? Or why not just duck in and get a clinch and then push them off and then get off the cage? But why always circle with your hands down off the cage? Like, I don't know. This is a pattern he has not been willing to fix. And that's why I'm really going to lean to this fight to Gane. I think it's going to be a highly competitive, technical fight. Start off, I don't think Gane's going to go out and just run through him, just out-technique him, just like... But I think it's more so a fight where like be very technical. They both be all trying to find their setups, find their ranges, and for their techniques. But I think once Gane starts to fill out Dos Santos a bit, I think he's gonna really start to push him back and pressure him, start to throw those front kicks and kicks to get, like I said, push Dos Santos back and to start to get his back towards that cage and then start to really unload and start to take advantage of those patterns in Dos Santos' game. And then once he started pushing back and started to crack him a bit. I think it's like a longer fight than maybe some of the Rosenstruck fight, because like I said, Gane's not really a fighter that necessarily rushes to the finish too much. He likes to pick his shots and like really get his setups well. So I feel like to be in the later rounds, like probably early third, where he'll knock Dos Santos out. But either way, it's a fight where competitive, technical, but Gane knowing full well where he wants to take this fight, put Dos Santos on his back foot, put him against his cage, have him circling, and then circle him to his strikes, and constantly taking advantage of that. Until like the later round, third round, where he's finally able to fully capitalize on it and put Dos Santos out. And I think that's in the third round early. So in this fight, I got Gane via third round TKO. Now to our next fight we have in the middleweight division, Kevin Holland versus Ronaldo Souza, or Jacare Souza. So look at this one right here. Jacare is about 5'11", Holland like 6'3", 6'4". Well, yeah, probably like 6'3", so significant height advantage. Also significant youth advantage. I think Holland like 27 and Jacare is 40. But it is, like I said, there's some green. I mean, there's some positives for Souza, or some bright moments, or I don't know what I'm trying to say with this. But Souza does have some hope in this one. It's not like it's a shutout fight. It's not no easy fight to pick Holland. And I don't know where the odds are going to end up when they actually come fight night. But Holland will likely be the favorite and should be the favorite in this one. But yeah, there's some bright spots for Souza's one. Like Holland had issue with Darren Stewart, who's not a wrestler, not a grappler, not no judoka, not nothing. He had some issues with. Just Darren Stewart been on top, and he has issue with some people taking him down or being in top position. And like I said, if Darren Stewart could do that, then Souza could do much worse. But I think more so in that fight, you got to realize that it was the fact that it was unexpected. A lot of it was strength and not really technique. Well, it was some technique, but more so the strength of Stewart, and also the fact that it was in the third round after Holland, was fighting at a high pace. So you got to factor all those in. But the fact that Stewart even had that much success on the ground still was worrisome, and also something that Souza could look to and lick his chops or lick his teeth at. But what I really think this fight come down to, I think it'll come down to the youth, the height, the reach, and the pace of Holland. I feel like Souza's a very dangerous fighter. Like, he's still a very dangerous fighter, but he's slower now. He got a bite. He still got that big crocodile bite, but he's slower now. And he's predictable. So he's slower, he's predictable. His jiu-jitsu is still probably more than top 1%. Stephanie's probably still the best overall, jiu-jitsu, pure BJJ in the middleweight division, and probably at least top 3 in all of, the UFC right now, pure BJJ. So you gotta still give him his chop. I mean, his props, still gotta respect that. But like I said, it's might be very dangerous. You know what they're gonna do, and they're older now, and they're slower now. And even if they weren't older and slower, they're predictable. Predictability is still a weakness. So you gotta be the most dangerous guy in the world, but you're predictable. Somebody gonna know what you're gonna do, and I feel like that's gonna be the case. Souza is predictable, and Holland's takedown defense isn't the best, but Souza will be coming looking for one or two big shots, and maybe switch a head kick in there at times, but really one or two big shots at a time. Really one big shot at a time, and Holland's gonna be throwing basically 10 strikes. I'm exaggerating, probably on average 3 to 4 strikes, and that's sometimes 5 strikes at a time. To Souza one shot every now and then, just loading up. And then he'll be looking for takedowns. And he's going to overcome that reach, overcome that speed, overcome that youth. And I think it's not going to pan out the best for Souza. I don't think he gets stopped, but I think Holland just really outworks him, being a younger fighter, exploits that reach, exploits that speed, and exploits the predictability of Souza. And beats him to the set. I think Souza will have some moments in this fight, but I don't think he's going to rock Holland. I think it's probably a point where he'll get a takedown, be able to work for something, but it's probably going to be late in the round, or it's going to be to the point where he's not going to be able to get much done with it, but really going to be, like I said, Holland is being longer, younger, faster, less predictable, especially really unpredictable on his side, where Souza is very predictable. So it's night and day as far as predictability for both men. But either way, Holland is outworking Souza to a decision. So in this one, I have Kevin Holland via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the lightweight division, Renato Moicano versus Rafael Fiziev. So look at this one. Moicano actually have a pretty decent height advantage over Fiziev, who's only 5'8". That's kind of short for lightweight these days. A lot of lightweights be 5'10", 5'11" nowadays, or 5'10", 5'9". But either way, he's 5'8", so he's not the biggest lightweight, but not the smallest either. And definitely not a slender, short person. He's really filled out. So I'm not saying he's Brock Lesnar, or even close to Brock Lesnar, or should even be mentioned with Brock Lesnar, but he's not. I'm just saying he's not skinny. That's all I'm not saying. But height-wise, he's definitely not the tallest, or kind of below the average of lightweights nowadays as far as the UFC and the higher caliber lightweights. We're going against Moicano, who's 5'11", coming from 145 to 155, and this is his second fight at 155, I believe. But we're really looking at this fight right here to get to it. I think, like I said, the height could be a factor, but I think Fiziev's level of striking, he's been a world-class striker, and the way he strikes, and you can tell he's definitely, well, it's not even yet to tell, his resume shows that he's been competing at a high level of striking. His technique shows that he's been competing at a high level of striking. There's just levels to the striking game, and he's just in a different tier than Moicano, and pretty much 99% of the UFC as far as striking. So on the feet, this is Fiziev's fight. Moicano is no slouch and definitely can find opportunities, especially with his reach, his experience to find stuff and land stuff. Like I said, against Fiziev, but I think this is Fiziev's fight on the feet. And as far as Moicano's grappling, I think Moicano definitely has a big advantage on the grappling, but I feel like Fiziev in his last fight and some of his previous fights has shown that he's been really working on that takedown defense and takedown offense. So now I think Moicano is the best grappler. I think he only has about 3 or 4 takedowns or less inside the UFC. So his takedown, and I think his accuracy is roughly around 50%. So he's not really the greatest takedown artist. So with Fiziev's improvements in his takedown defense, I think his takedown defense is still at 100% right now. Yeah, so I think it's going to be a tough task for Moicano to get him to the ground. And I think Fiziev is going to pop back up if he does get taken down, at least the first couple times. And I don't think Moicano can get that many takedowns, if any. And if he does get them, he's going to have to get a couple of them to, really secure it and keep Fiziev down. Because when you get these fighters that's real good with takedown, real scramble, real good at sprawl. I mean, I would say springy type fighters. You got to take them down a couple times before you can really secure it. And like I said, I don't think Moicano is going to be able to active enough with his takedowns that are successful enough with the takedowns to really keep him down. So maybe 1 or 2 takedowns at the most. And both of them Fiziev popping up pretty quickly after getting taken down. On the feet, like I said, Fiziev is the world class striker. Moicano will have the height and the reach, and almost at a significant clip. But I think Fiziev's gonna be the pick him apart on the feet, come over the top, especially because Moicano's he's a technical fighter, but he's definitely stiff, chin definitely up there. He's definitely like a telephone pole as far as his striking defense and kind of movement. Like I said, very technical, very dangerous, but Fiziev is a different level striker. And the tape is out there on Moicano, so I think Fiziev would come over the top, chew up his legs, chew his body, control the range, and final shots over the top often in this one. And I think he actually stops Moicano in the second round. Like I said, mixing the high and low, chew him the legs, going to the body, then coming over the top with a right hand, cracking Fiziev. I mean, not cracking Fiziev, but cracking Moicano, and then following up with a flurry and put him out in that second round. So in this one, I have Rafael Fiziev via second round TKO. Now to our co-main event, we have in the lightweight division, former interim champion Tony Ferguson versus Charles Oliveira. Really should be a undisputed champion, but it is what it is. So Tony Ferguson versus Charles Oliveira. So yeah, the former 1A, 1B, like at first one point, I mean for a long point it was Tony Ferguson and Khabib were the two best men in the division. Like until they fought each other, they were like 1A and 1B. They were both number one. But because Ferguson lost and Khabib absolutely decimated the guy who beat Tony Ferguson, there's clearly a one now, and that's Khabib. But yes, more back to this fight. So Tony Ferguson versus Charles Oliveira, two high-level BJJ players, two very high-level. So this will be very interesting to see whose BJJ is truly better. And that'll be interesting. Like this, like you can say, Ferguson, I think Ferguson is better because of this, or I think Oliveira is better because of that, or Oliveira, look at his resume, look at how many submissions he has. He has the most in UFC history, and look at the competition he did it to. But this is going to be the fight that's going to really say who has the better BJJ. But I really think what this fight comes down to is it's going to be like who's tougher, who's more mentally strong, and who can endure more, who's more mentally strong, and who can take it further, who can go further, who can dig deeper. And straight off the bat, I'm saying Tony Ferguson can dig deeper and go further. Charles Oliveira right now, like I said, he's got some steam behind him. He's looking good, actually looking cleaner than Ferguson in my opinion. But the same thing with Oliveira. Like when he gets in tough situations, he cracks, he crumbles. When he tries to put you out of there, he can't. He cracks, he crumbles. And Ferguson is a hard guy to be put out of there. I don't think Ferguson has ever been finished in his career outside of Gaethje. And it's not like he was knocked down. Matter of fact, I don't think he was ever dropped in that fight. He was never knocked off his feet. He was never separated from his consciousness. I don't think he ever been submitted in his career, but definitely not in the UFC. He's never been submitted or knocked he was knocked out by a Gaethje or standing knockout, doctor or whatever. TKO, standing stoppage, but either way, he never quit in his career. He never tapped out as far as in the UFC. Never been knocked off. Never been knocked off his feet. He's been knocked off his feet a lot of times. He's been hit into front rows, but he's never been, say, knocked on the ground and somebody that's on top of him welling on him until the ref had to pull him off. It was never the case with him. So, never been separated from conscience in the UFC. Never been submitted. So, and never quit. So that's why I'm looking at Ferguson and Oliveira. We've seen him quit a number of times. We've seen him tapped out. We've seen him knocked out. We've seen him one punch. We just seen him get beat all types of ways. We seen him submitted. He got submitted by Pettis, got Lamas, got Cerrone, Jim Miller, got knocked out by Cub Swanson. So we've seen this guy have his ups and downs, but always been an amazing talent. But also Paul Felder, we've seen him come out against Paul Felder all aggressive. And then when Paul Felder didn't wilt didn't he tap out, you saw him just fade. Like he literally just looked demoralized and let Paul Felder just beat on him until the ref pulled him off. So going against Ferguson's pace is going to be an issue for Oliveira. Like a guy that's not quitting, can take your punches, take your kicks, take your elbows, keep coming at you with like 100 strikes. You know, Ferguson can be a little bit sloppy, and they both kind of can be a little bit sloppy at times. It's going to be Ferguson's pace, his pressure, his will, his determination, the fact that he's not going to, even like say Oliveira come out strong, it'd be hard to tap Ferguson, hard to put him away, and he's just going to get stronger. Like, you try to come at him with your best shot and you don't put him away, he's just going to get stronger and keep coming. Like, you're going to have to keep coming, and Oliveira has shown that he really can't keep. Like, unless he can put you out of there, or unless you're just wilting for him and just letting him do what he wants to you, if you stay in the fight strong and you just, like I said, in the fight, he's going to naturally start to wilt once you give him some fight back. And like I said, Ferguson's going to be giving him a fight the whole time in every area. And it's going to be probably the best grappler that Oliveira has won against. And probably the best grappler each of them has won against, as far as Ferguson and Oliveira. But like I said, I think it's really going to come down to the heart and determination, who can go deeper, and that's Ferguson for sure. Like, I think Oliveira come out strong like he always does, but Ferguson's going to be able to endure it, battle with him, and then start to walk him down, pick him apart, and then probably tap him out. And I say he's gonna snap jiu-jitsu, start pressing. Like I say, Oliveira come out strong, but not gonna be able to have the success he wants, or have the scenario play out the way he wants to play out. And then Ferguson start to respond back instantly and start pressuring him, start to crack him, and then you're gonna start to see Oliveira start to wilt like he typically does. And then it's gonna be all snap city from there. Ferguson forward pressure, doing 100 strikes from all different angles, and then have Oliveira start to wilt, dip that chin, and then get caught in a snap down to a Darce and tapped out in that third round. So in this fight, I have Tony Ferguson via third round submission. Now on to our main event, we have in the flyweight division for the undisputed flyweight title, Deiveson Figueiredo versus Brandon Moreno. So looking at this one right here, you got Moreno who's coming, like they both literally fought like 2 cards ago, which was like 2 weeks ago, which feel like yesterday basically, and now they're already getting turned around and fighting for a title, just like I said, just then. Like, so Figueiredo just defended his belt, and now he's defending it again like 2 days, basically. It feels like 2 days since that fight. That's how quick the fight, how early. I mean, basically in MMA time, that's like 2 days. So I don't think they haven't had actual training camps for each other or anything. They just literally say, already trained, so let's just go out there and fight again. Both were successful in their fights. Figueiredo got a finish, Moreno got a finish, and now they're fighting each other again. So you got Moreno, like I said, Moreno comes out there, high intensity, high pace, wrestles, he loves to fight, he loves the thrill of it, and he looks like a guy that thoroughly enjoys what he does. So, come out there, I feel like his game plan is going to be high intensity, try to take Figueiredo down and try to grind him out. Whereas Figueiredo going to look to, explode on Moreno and put him out. Like, Figueiredo got some good jiu-jitsu, but he definitely doesn't want to be on Moreno too much unless maybe he has him hurt before he's underneath him. Whereas Moreno's going to look to pressure and smother Figueiredo. But while I've really seen this fight happen, I feel like Moreno's going to try to pressure, but he's just going to walk into counters of Figueiredo, be getting hurt, getting tagged up. And then once he starts getting put on the back foot, eating those counters, Figueiredo just going to, like, this over the course of the fight. I don't think it's going to be a first round finish, but I think it's going to be like I would say 4th round finish, where he start to really push Moreno back after, countering him and start to walk him down. But that's going to be like, it's going to be a kind of repeated theme, of course, the fight where Moreno will try to come out, be aggressive, and then start getting countered, getting put on the back foot. Then eventually in that 4th round, after, a longer fight, Moreno started to wear the kicks to the body, those front kicks to the body, the kicks ripping like to his body. His face will be wearing some damage. Now he has Figueiredo really going to start to unload on him, start to have him on the back foot on the cage and start to rip him to the body heavy, like really dig into those shots. And then put him out of there in that 4th round. So in this fight, I have Deiveson Figueiredo via 4th round TKO. And that concludes my fight prediction for the main card of UFC 256, Figueiredo versus Moreno. And as always, thanks for watching.